It's one of the most celebrated films of the 1990s, a sweeping epic that won 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Kevin Costner's Dances with Wolves was hailed as a masterpiece of storytelling, authenticity, and cultural respect. But hidden beneath all the accolades is a mistake so glaring, so historically inaccurate, that once you notice it, you'll never be able to watch the movie the same way again. This is the huge mistake in Dances with Wolves that most people completely overlooked. Released in 1990, Dances with Wolves was more than just a Western, it was a cultural event. Costner, who directed and starred in the film, sought to portray Native American culture with sensitivity and depth rarely seen in Hollywood at the time. The film's attention to detail, from language to costume design, earned praise from critics and historians alike. But even the most carefully crafted productions can slip up, and in this case, it wasn't a small continuity error or a prop left in frame. It was something much bigger. The central mistake lies in the film's use of the Lakota Sioux language. While Costner made the admirable choice to include authentic Lakota dialogue, the dialect used was largely the male form of the language, even when spoken by women. Linguists and native speakers immediately noticed the problem. In Lakota, men and women traditionally use slightly different words and inflections. For example, a woman would not phrase certain sentences the same way a man would. But in Dances with Wolves, the female characters often spoke in the male form, which for native viewers was jarringly inaccurate. To the average moviegoer, this detail slipped by unnoticed. Most audiences were simply captivated by the sweeping visuals, the powerful performances, and the tragic yet hopeful story. But for the Lakota people, this error stood out like a sore thumb. It wasn't malicious. It was simply a mistake rooted in the production's heavy reliance on male consultants and translators during the filmmaking process. Still, it became a talking point, highlighting how even films praised for their cultural sensitivity can miss crucial details. Beyond the language issue, Dances with Wolves also faced criticism for perpetuating the white savior trope, a storytelling device in which an outsider comes in to save or uplift an indigenous culture. While Costner's character, John Dunbar, is portrayed as respectful and deeply moved by the Lakota people, the film still centers on his journey of transformation rather than the Lakota themselves. Many argue this diminishes the authenticity of the story, making the native characters supporting players in their own narrative. And yet, despite these mistakes, the film's impact cannot be denied. For many viewers in 1990, Dances with Wolves was the first time they saw Native American culture portrayed with dignity rather than caricature. It opened doors for discussions about representation in Hollywood, and even with its flaws, it remains a landmark in American cinema. The mistake in the Lakota language, while significant, serves as a reminder of how important it is to include diverse voices in every stage of storytelling, not just as consultants, but as creators. Kevin Costner himself has acknowledged the criticisms over the years, and some Lakota speakers have expressed gratitude that their language was showcased to a global audience, even if imperfectly. In fact, the film helped spark renewed interest in learning and preserving Lakota, which was and still is considered an endangered language. In that sense, the mistake may have inadvertently contributed to something positive. So what does this all mean? Dances with Wolves may not be the flawless masterpiece many believed it to be, but its imperfections make it an even more fascinating piece of film history. The huge mistake in the language reminds us that Hollywood, no matter how well-intentioned, often struggles to capture cultural nuance perfectly. And yet, the film's legacy endures, not as a perfect representation, but as a turning point in how Native American stories were brought to the screen. In the end, Dances with Wolves remains a cinematic triumph, but one with a hidden flaw that changes how we see it. And now that you know the truth, the next time you watch it, you'll notice the mistake that slipped past millions and wonder how such a big detail could have been missed in a film that prided itself on authenticity.